Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's the Pest and Lawn Ginja, and this is my ugly lawn project. Now, it's been about 100 days since we started this project. As a little refresher and a reminder, we did a massive lawn debris cleanup with a power rake on this property. We also did an overseed with the Barenbrug Turf Blue Pro HGT technology, and then we watered and watered and watered, and then we've been spoon feeding it with the Bionutrients pack, which I believe is an 809. Check the link in the description. If you guys want to go back and watch all the videos, go look at my playlist under Ugly Lawn Project. 100 days later, we're still moving strong. The grass is much thicker than what it was when we got into it, but we've got some fundamental problems. Now, overall, give it a solid C. However, I want to set clear expectation that this is very normal for an overseed. No pre-emergent other than the tenacity application that we did, which is mesotrione, and we have a ton of spurge, and we also have a lot of crabgrass. Now, spurge, if you guys aren't too familiar with it, it's very invasive. You commonly find it in lawns and also garden areas. And then we also have our crabgrass. Now, crabgrass, you want to make sure you identify this properly, because I find that a lot of people don't. Now, you'll see here when we get on top of it, it actually grows from a central vine, not to be confused with bunching tall fescue. And when we get in here, you can see it all grows from the center. Now, luckily on this lawn, we have some bunching tall fescue right here, and you can't treat this with an herbicide. You can see that it grows real thick, real coarse. You've got these veins. It ends up with a blunt top after you mow it, and it also grows in bunches, commonly circles. Now, I know a lot of you guys at home are in similar situations where you overseed in the spring and you're wondering, hey Ginja, what's next? Well, what's next is we need to focus on weed control. I don't like to treat the weeds unless we're about 90 days out or further, which is where we're at now. But now we need to give it some food. It's been really hot here. We've been getting 90 to 100 degree temperatures for about the last 3 weeks. And the temperatures are still sitting stagnant, but at least we're below 90. So today we're going to focus on our late summer, early fall application for a post overseed treatment. Now, before we begin any of these processes, we want to go through my 5-step approach. Now, about the only step that we're going to skip today is the debris test, because we've already removed it all out about 100 days ago. And I made sure that the homeowner has been bagging their clippings. But just to give you a brief overview, we're going to look at pattern, color, water saturation test, debris test, then a pull test. Overall, you can see we have a few random areas in the corners over here, and then as we get in the middle here, you can kind of see the color is distorted. Typically when we're dealing with brown colors like this, it's commonly going to come down to watering. We do know that our pattern is random, so I'm going to have to check a few of these different sections out. But one thing I want to cut to the chase too, since we've been overseeding, is just to see if there's any chance that we have any sort of melting out fungus, because we had to overwater during this process. Now, as you can see, a lot of our color looks like it's being distorted because we have melting out. And melting out is pretty easy to identify. It almost looks like the grass is melting like a popsicle. So you can see at the top of the base of the grass how it's yellow and kind of coming down, and then at the bottom of the grass it's still rotting out. Common with this is you're going to have a condition called leaf spot with it, where you get speckles on the blades of the grass, and they pretty much go hand in hand. The best way to deal with melting out and leaf spots is to slightly dehydrate the lawn, meaning no watering. For a period of about 3 to 5 days, let those stressors come in. But we're in a unique situation where the homeowner hasn't had a chance to get the sprinkler coverage correct. So that's going to be the #1 talk with them. But before we come to conclusions, let's go ahead and do the water saturation soil test. Now, my suspicions are right, and a lot of you guys at home say, hey, how do you know it's dry? Well, I've got this soil probe that I use from AMS, and I love this thing because really just shows me what reality is. Now you can see here how crumbly it comes out. There's no water in the soil. Now I'm gonna go get another probe, show you what a soil sample looks like with water in it. Now in this sample you can see how dark the sample is, and it's clearly got water. When I put my finger over it, you can kind of see that clay really holding on. Now this is a perfect example of what I want to see. It's about 6 to 8 inches long, and the best part is you get hints of roots coming out of the bottom here, which is awesome, these little white specks here. And so we've got good root depth. Now it looks like my suspicions were correct. These funny little lines right here in the random patterns that we're talking about that look slightly browner than the other areas, they are lack of water. So now that my soil probe has kind of shown me what reality is, I'm going to have a talk with the homeowner, because if I apply herbicides to this and I apply fertilizer to this, it's just going to burn. Now if I can get a solid commitment, they're going to go ahead and water, then I'm going to be able to apply a recovery service with humates and calcium, just like the Essentials 101. Now the pull test revealed that we do not have a fungus and we don't have any signs of turf insects. So now we can kind of move on with the next step, which is really nice. Now since we seeded 100 days ago, I needed a macro source, which is our nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium with a slow release. Now they call this carbon 90 plus because the nitrogen dissipates over 90 days, very, very slow. So I'm gonna run this at about 9 pounds per thousand. That should give me just under 1¼ pounds of N over the next 90 days as a slow release. Now for our recovery service, I'm going to use the grade 8. Now I purchased this at our local IFA. The best thing about this is it has sea kelp and humic acids. Now that's going to help out with our recovery. And then our micronutrients, I picked up the micro pack. Now if you guys do a search online that you can find this, it's got some of our primary micronutrients like magnesium, sulfur, iron, manganese, and zinc. Now as for our weed control, I'm gonna do a little bit of a cocktail today. Now T-zone is fantastic. Now with the spurge, for some reason when you mix it with the Quinclorac, it has a bite to it, a real good bite. And so this is what's going on in the backpack. And then I'm going to be using the Solupack Rapture 404 just to piss the neighbors off so we can get some good color. It's got 12% iron in it with sulfur. As the lawn Ginja, I never leave anything up to chance. We all know it starts with calibration. So what I'm doing is I'm spraying with my FlowZone Typhoon 2V at 1 gallon per minute per 1,000 square feet. Over 15 seconds, I should end up with 32 ounces of water. Shazam, there I am. Now I know you're all probably wondering, really Ginja, Josh's pickles? Yes, Josh's pickles, they're fantastic and they're locally homegrown. But I have too many empty bottles, so I'm gonna use it for premix, make sure all these lovely mixes play nicely together in the same bottle. Now do you have to buy Josh's pickles? Well, no you don't. I just recommend it because they're so good. But at the end of the day, the point of this exercise is to make sure that you don't get a lot of clumps in the backpack sprayer. Ugh. What is wrong with this backpack sprayer? Crap. Oh, I see it now. Sorry guys, it took me a second to figure out what was wrong with the backpack. I didn't get my stickers on it, my shout outs. Look at that, man. Lawn time coming. New Perspective Lawn Care and the Lawn Whisperer. Hey, thanks for sending me this stuff. Hey, Striper Man, shout out to you if you're out there. Your sticker just wasn't waterproof enough and it wouldn't stick. It's time. Let's get these macros down, shall we? Oh yeah. Now I'm really excited to get these solutions up and running so we can get this ugly lawn project back in track and have it looking like a top. Now, when it comes to the herbicides, the Quinclorac does say it has to sit dry for 24 hours, so no watering 24 hours. Expectation-wise, you should see the plants, meaning the weeds, start curling up within about 7 to 10 days. If that does not happen, you may need to consider another application. Now, the one thing is this lawn would be looking 10 times better had the watering been on point. I can't stress enough out there, it all starts with water. You can see the brown stress marks, you can see everything going on. We would have had decent color by now too, even though our nitrogen counts are really low and the available nutrients that we've actually put down are low, I'd still expect it to look better. Number one focus for the homeowner on this is going to be water. Now, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, hit me up. Love to help you guys out. And this is the Ginja. I'm out of here.